everybody, Mark over here at Twanger'sTurntable. I hope you're all enjoying your holidays and doing well. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, however you observe this time of year. All the best to you and your family, all your loved ones. And as I said, I hope you're having a great time, whether that be with family, friends, loved ones, or even if you happen to be spending these holidays alone and that's your preference, I hope you're enjoying that as well. Just being well is the main thing. Been a little busy over here and taken a bit of a hiatus. I've been hanging out in the vinyl community and part of the peanut gallery here and there, but not as much as usual. I did post a short video regarding a album I had received from Rick over at Rick and Records, and in a roundabout way from Rachel over at Rachel's Ghost. So I just wanted to expand on that. I'll do a bit of an introductory here, or sort of I'll elaborate, if you will. Rick had a contest on his channel. It entailed a rhyme that involved many bands, and it was the objective was to decipher those bands and identify as many or all if you could. He had posted this one evening. I saw it, but I was calling it a night at the time and had hoped to enter it, but never got around to it. I think the riddle, if you will, was solved pretty quickly, and that being by Rachel over at Rachel's Ghost. So she won the prize. So between her and Rick, they had worked out the details, and she had suggested to him that the prize go to me, completely unsolicited. I had no idea this had happened. So I got the prize from Rick's contest because of the grace of Rachel, and as I've mentioned, very much appreciate it. So I wanted to share that with everyone. So the record was initially a Dee Snider record, and Rick has been great through all this. Made several attempts to get that record to me, but through no fault of his own, they kept sending the wrong record, the wrong vinyl. And pardon if you can hear a noise in the background, that's just the fan that's kicked on from my fireplace. Hopefully it doesn't make too much of an impact. And when I continue this video, I'm going to split it up. When I continue, I'll have my mic on, so hopefully you'll hear better as well. But I digress. So kept getting the wrong record. Finally he said, well, let's try something different. He's going to send me a record of an artist that he really likes. I guess it's one of his favorites, if not his favorite. And so it arrived, as I alluded to in my other video, but I didn't have a chance to elaborate. It was a busy day. But this is it. And I believe this is their second album by Marillion. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. I think it is, Marillion. Fugazi. So I haven't even cracked it open yet. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to crack it open. We're going to have a look at it. And I'm going to stop the video, but I'll listen to it. I already listened to it a couple times, streaming it through my Apple Tunes or iTunes, Apple Music, I guess, whatever. And I'll give him my opinion on it. Just some background. I've heard of Marillion. In fact, I heard their first record way back. It had to be 83, if I'm not mistaken. It was in the early 80s. I was probably 15, 16. Anyway, I'll elaborate on that when I resume the video. But we're just going to crack this vinyl open, because I haven't even opened it yet. Like I say, I just listened to it on my streaming service. So, got our X-Acto knife. You want to be really careful when doing this. To those who are maybe new to the whole vinyl scene, it's what I like to use. Works best. Careful not to sink it too far into the actual sleeve, as not to tear any inner sleeve or whatnot that may be in there. So we'll crack that open. This does not have any hype sticker on it. If it did, I would usually keep the shrink wrap. In this instance it doesn't, so I won't keep it. I'll just take that right off, because I do put them on in outer protective sleeves. As you can see in my other vinyl, they're usually actually 12 3/4 by 12 3/4 outer sleeves, clear outer sleeves. Most of them. I have some older ones that aren't, and I like those because I can fit up to, like, a triple LP will fit in those sleeves comfortably. The other ones are usually 12 by 12, and even a double, a gatefold, becomes really tight in those outer sleeves. So I've switched. I've gone to the larger outer sleeves, and I really like them, and they're crystal clear. So it really makes the artwork pop. There's no dullness to them. So we're getting this shrink wrap off of here. Oh, I don't care about the shrink wrap. What am I doing? Usually I'm so careful taking it because it has hype stickers or whatnot. So it's kind of got a matte finish to it. It's really nice. It is a gatefold, actually. I didn't know that. Okay, so yeah, it's got inside. The gatefold is all the lyrics, and then we'll pop out the inner sleeve. Nice black inner sleeve with the protective. I'm having a brain cramp here. Plastic inner sleeve, and it is black vinyl. Nice black vinyl. Very nice. So I'm going to pop it on. I'm going to have a listen through, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about Marillion Fugazi. Okay, so wow. How would I describe this? First off, definitely that prog rock, neo prog rock. I'm not up on all the genres, so but I did look into it a little bit. So I'm just going to grab my notes because I made some notes as I was listening to it. So what we're talking about, of course, is it is the second release by Marillion, Fugazi, which came out in 1984. Now, I had mentioned I had heard of Marillion. Of course, I mean, most people, I think, in music, those that are passionate and love it, and certainly in the VC, know of Marillion or have heard of them. This would be their debut from 1983. Hope you can see that okay. I love their album artwork, I have to say. And on the back of their albums, on the gatefolds, usually there's artwork of other. And I don't know if that's a nod to some of their influences. But that one, I do recall hearing it. And I remember even back then thinking, to me, it came across almost as a cross between, and this may be off the mark for some. Go listen to it for yourself. Would I recommend it? Definitely. I guess I should save that for the end. But it's almost like a Peter Gabriel meets Bruce Dickinson. Peter Gabriel of Genesis, very dramatic, thematic vocalist, if you know of the early Genesis prior to Phil Collins. But definitely the Bruce Dickinson vocal and Gabriel. Musically, I got to tell you, it starts off the first track, Assassin, and it's very progressive rock. Assassin comes in at 7 minutes and 1 second. As soon as the vocals started, that's who stood out to me. It just seemed to be very much influenced by the Peter Gabriel, all his Genesis stint, but also his solo work. And I've pulled up the albums here where I think there are some influences for Marillion on this record, and I don't know if that's a theme throughout their career. I'm not that familiar with Marillion. When I first heard them in '83, initially it just wasn't my thing, and it probably speaks to more what I was into at the time. I didn't really like the Genesis, the Peter Gabriel era Genesis at that juncture, as much as I do appreciate them more now. I'm still a Phil Collins era Genesis personally, but definitely like Peter Gabriel solo stuff better than his Genesis stuff personally. But yeah, that Assassin come in and said once it started, this may seem strange, but there was actually musical influences that made me think, or at least made me think of Pink Floyd, which is funny. I'll get to that in a second. But also a Canadian artist, Gowan, who actually is the lead vocalist for Styx, Tommy Shaw, his band. It's not the original Styx, hence the reason that Larry Gowan, is vocalist. And the Eurythmics funny enough, at least musically, very, very much. And I think the reason why it also reminds me vocally of a Jeff Tate type vocal of Queensryche, and I'm not a fan of Jeff Tate Queensryche at all. I can't even listen to it. But I actually, I do like it. So, and I'm going to take this out of these sleeves. Those sleeves I was talking about before, these, I'll leave a link to these. I think they're awesome. They're a little bigger than your traditional 12 by 12. It fits trifolds, gatefolds. They're great sleeves. But if you look at their artwork on this album, and I think it's a theme throughout some of their other albums, from what I could tell, you can see some of the artwork. And funny enough, one of those albums, I don't know all the albums, but one of those albums is definitely Pink Floyd The Wall. And I think one of the other albums is actually one of their single EPs or something that I read. So Pink Floyd The Wall is on there. And as I alluded to, vocally, it has tones of Gowan for me. If you've not heard these albums, I highly recommend them. I'm pretty sure most people have heard of Pink Floyd The Wall. Gowan, this one came out. He's a Canadian artist, but Strange Animals. This one came out, I believe, 84. A Criminal Mind is an incredible song on here, but the entire album is pretty good. And of course, Annie Lennox and the Eurythmics, musically only, not vocally. There was no, and of course, as I alluded to, especially this era of Bruce Dickinson was Maiden. The vocals just seem to really remind me of that on this record. So the notes I made here, just mostly looking into it. Marillion formed in 1979 in Buckinghamshire in the UK as a neo-prog rock band, but they emerged from the post-punk era and a bridge between post-punk and progressive rock. This release came out in 1984. The one that Rick sent me is a 2022 reissue from Parlophone, made in Germany. Sounds amazing, by the way. So yeah, very prog rock. I mean, Assassin comes in at 7:01. This is side one. Next up is Punch and Judy. It comes in at 3:22. It's the shortest one on the entire album. And then Jigsaw comes in at 6:49. 6 minutes and 49 is what I'm saying here. Emerald Lies is 5 minutes and 8 seconds. And then you flip over to side two, and these are all very long. She Chameleon is at 6:53. Incubus is at 8:30. That's the longest track on the album. And then it closes out with Fugazi at 8:02. I don't know if I could pick a favorite. If I were pressed on to pick one, I think closing out on side two there, or side one, Emerald Lies, just really rocky, comes in with some good riffs in the beginning. But yeah, that's it. This is what came from Rick at Ricken Records. Completely unsolicited by way of Rachel at Rachel's Ghosts. I would recommend it. Go check it out if you're into prog rock, that neo prog rock. I really think you would enjoy this. I'm not sure. I know the lead vocalist left in the late 80s, and Fish, those who are familiar with Fish, that's essentially the lead vocalist that performed on these albums, the early Marillion albums. I'm not a fan of Fish personally. I've given it a listen, but again, sometimes when we listen to stuff again later on in life, we may have a different appreciation for it or hear it differently. And I would suggest that's the case for me with this. I could see myself listening to this and checking out some of their other material. So I will thank Rick again for that. I may not have listened to that on my own accord. If I saw that, I may not pick it up and give it a listen. So I did. I will leave a link to some of the the outer sleeves that I recommend, and the inner sleeves as well for my vinyl, my record collection, because I think it does, if nothing else, it keeps them enclosed in a more of a dust. It's not dust free. It can't be dust free. That's impossible. But and it definitely, for displaying them like I like to do, I like to see my vinyl, not always in a shelf, although I do have a huge K-Lax there to store them in. I only have 400 or so, maybe 5 now. I'm not sure. I haven't counted in a while. But I'll leave it at that. It is Christmas Eve, so as I introed the video saying Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everyone, I will outro the video in the same manner. I hope you're all doing well out there in BC and in YouTube and everywhere, friends, family. Take care. I guess I will see you. I intend to do another video. I might enter into a challenge or a contest here and there throughout the holidays. But I'll leave it at that. This video is getting a little on here, but I really want to do this. It was important for me to do this. I do appreciate it, Rick, Rachel, everyone who watches. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy your family. Be good to each other. Be good to yourself for sure. And yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone.